Yow, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Extra Time with eXtine. Now, we like to use this segment to talk about a variety of topics. This one might drag on a little bit because it is a large topic. We are going to talk about eSports. Now, eSports is a very important term, and I think it's important that we come to terms with the use of the term eSports. Why is this important? It comes to like mainstream discussions and acknowledging this culture, this phenomenon, this underground society. eSports, that's what it is. Now, it's very different from video games. Video games is the overall umbrella. eSports are a part of video games. But with video games as a whole, you got games like Solitaire, Cityville, Farmville, Swampville, Garbage Manville, any sort of, high-rise Managerville, any sort of these games that you're just, you bring it up on your phone, you mess around with it. Even some of those games that actually do have like a two-player component, Scrabble, Words with Friends, those are still more of like traditional style of gaming, of card games, board games. Or you have some of these old school games where there actually is a high score challenge aspect where how many points can you get in Donkey Kong Jr. and Galaga and Pac-Man. Those are games that is getting closer to esports. And how I kind of compare those games to what I view esports as is, you have like track and field, and it is a sport, but you essentially are racing against the clock. You're not necessarily racing against the person who is right next to you in the lane. But once you get into soccer and football and basketball, where there's a team of people all running around on a field and what one person does affects another person, that's much more than a game, a traditional game. And I think it's the same way in video games. You have these games where you can't affect somebody else, you're not interacting with somebody else. Some of them have a high score challenge and that takes them up a little bit higher. But these games like Team Fortress, like StarCraft, fighting games, where you're up against one-on-one versus somebody else and what you are doing is affecting their chances of victory. You have teammates, you have these sort of things. Then we're starting to talk about something that is much more significant than just regular gaming. I don't claim that Team Fortress 2 or any of these computer games are the same as sports. And that's why I like to use the term esports. It signifies a slight difference, but it is the same concept of competition, of going up against other people, other teams, trying to come together to improve yourself as a player, as a competitor, and become better. And it's that same thrill and that same enjoyment which is what drives people into esports. Now for me, the only main difference besides an esport and a traditional sport is that esports do not require physical exertion in the sense that one person who is better prepared physically, more athletic, more freakishly huge, Andre the Giant versus a tiny Asian girl, they have equal chances in esports. There is a physical component, however, nonetheless, which is also why I prefer to use this term esports. There's hand-eye coordination, there's response skills, there's actually how well you can manipulate what you're doing. And some of these things really started to hammer home for me as I was growing up and playing, for example, Tony Hawk Pro Skater. As that series grew up and it got crazier and crazier, it became more and more apparent that the better that you can use your hands on the controller, the higher the score you're going to get. Now, I'm also a huge fan of Mario Kart Double Dash, and the same thing holds true there. The more blue sparks that you can do with your hands, a physically challenging motion, the better that you're going to do. The same holds true to a certain degree for StarCraft when you come down to your APM, your actions per minute, how fast you're able to clanky to that keyboard. And some of that's empty, movements, but it is a very physical movement that you have to have trained, you have to be ready to go. And there's not that physical exertion of like pushing up against somebody and getting stronger. At the same time, you should take care of your body as an esport participant, but that really is the only thing that's missing to me from esports compared to traditional sports. And as I said before, I think it's very important that we segregate away just a little bit what an esport is versus a regular video game. And I also want to point out, though, especially since I'm in the realm of TF2, that is the main esport that I'm involved with, esport community, that you have super competitive esports, but then you also have casual esports. And I think the best example, at least right now, for casual esports is regular TF2, regular pub server TF2. That to me is still an esport. You're still out there, you have teammates, you may not be coordinating with them, communicating with them accurately or consistently, but nonetheless, you have this decision-making process of every time you round a corner and you see something going on, you're like, I see that soldier over there. Should I go left? Should I go right? Which one is gonna work better for me? You make a decision, you move from it, you move to left, and you say, oh, there's a demo man over here, what do I do? And then that is all tied in with your physical reactions, your hand-eye coordination, your aiming, how well you control your avatar. And I think that even in a casual setting of TF2, it is an esport. I mean, what would you say, playing basketball out in the park? Is that, I would say that's still a sport. You're playing a game of basketball, it's casual, but you are playing the same sport that they play in the NBA. So esports and this concept of esports and this mindset of esports and saying, hey, this is why I play this game. It's because I like to be competitive, I like to have fun, and even if it's in a casual setting, I think it's very important that we as gamers accept that fact. And once we are happy with that term esports, we're confident with that term esports, you say, hey, yeah, I can't hang out tonight, I gotta go home and play with my esports team. Bam, done. And that's how you get mainstream acceptance, and that's how our idea takes over the brain space of the people out there, and esports takes another giant step forward. So I've rambled long enough. Thanks for listening to me talk about esports. Much love to everybody out there. Would love to hear your thoughts on the topic. Leave them in the comments. And I'm eXtine. I will holler at you next time. Peace out.